son. Where'd you find this?
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with the crowd, and I'm out.
Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Shout out to my poets, writers, content creators, all the above, in between. Shout out to the people of Instagram. I see you. Shout out to the people on Facebook, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you at right now. I thank you for being here. Blessings to all of you. I hope your week is going the way that you intended it to go. You see the title. It's a serious matter. Most of these topics that we cover up here are serious matters. If you have anything that you would like to see us discuss up here as we build on this platform, email me, shoot me a message, DM. We'll make it work. I got Randy in the building. We about to cut up. Shout out to the whole crew, Rob, Sydney, Max, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Let me bring her up, check the temperature, and we're gonna get this show rolling. What up? What up? What up? What up?
What's up? How are you?
I'm good. What's the word?
Not much. Just, life.
I see the fitted.
Yeah, today's been super rainy, so I was running around doing stuff, so I kind of needed just to not have the craziest hair of all time.
Hey, I ain't mad at it. I love the caps. I
gotta represent my home state.
Respectfully, of course. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the clip.
Oh no, I did.
This is for the people who didn't get to see it. I'm gonna let it play, and we're gonna jump straight to it, man. If y'all got any feedback, any thoughts that y'all want to share with us up here, I'll put it up on the big screen so the folks can interact with it. Enough of that. Let me bring this up here real quick. Oh man, I'm gonna let this rock out, and we're gonna jump straight into it, man. Hold up.
teenagers went on a random shooting spree across Austin, Texas over the weekend, hitting apartment buildings, homes, businesses, and even 2 fire stations. And what police found when they caught them will leave you completely speechless. A 15-year-old and a 17-year-old were taken into custody after 12 separate shooting incidents spread across South and East Austin beginning Saturday afternoon and continuing into Sunday morning. 4 people were shot, including 1 critically wounded victim who is now listed in stable condition. Surveillance footage captured suspects firing from a moving vehicle, striking a woman standing outside a store, talking with another person. The suspects allegedly stole more than 4 vehicles, switching between them multiple times throughout the rampage. The 17-year-old already had an active warrant for stealing a firearm. A third suspect was later tracked to Manor, Texas, where authorities took him into custody. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis confirmed all 3 suspects are now in custody, and there is no ongoing threat to the public.
There's more to unpack with that, but let's just start here.
I mean,
the very second I sent you the video, you had time to marinate on it, but we watching it again in real time. What's going on in your mind seeing this?
what in the heck? What in the heck? That's the initial thought. Because truthfully, like 17 years old, that was not even something that would remotely cross my mind. You know, to the thought of something so nefarious and so violent and so just outlandish. Like that's just something, I don't know. It just makes me wonder how are you raised? Really, truly. That's like all my brain goes to. As a mom, like I just think about like how one was brought up, that is the path in which they decided. And I do know that obviously you're not always a product of how you've been raised. However, it does like I guess I gear towards thinking about the psychosis of it all, like the getting into the mind of what happened to you in life that made you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The first thing that I want to get out the way is my thoughts and prayers go out to those people out there, man. From the victims to the families and anybody else that's in that community. You know, I get extremely fatigued when I turn on social media and I see things like this because I know it exists. I know it's happening everywhere. Me and you are in just one little small piece of the ocean. Meanwhile, time is continuously ticking, you know. Things are happening even as we're talking. So it's like I'm not oblivious to it. It's just you just keep seeing it over and over and over again, and it gets extremely tiresome. But I do wonder how do you get to the point to where you are 16, 17, 15 years old with automatic weapons in general, and you are that dissociated with life or humanity to the point to where you take out all of that whatever's in you and you take it out on innocent people. How like
I don't know. I mean, listen, I get that, like, you know, I had a little bit of I had anger when I was 16, 17 years old due to things I had lived through, but like having anger is one thing, but this is a whole nother level of just almost like an emulation of all of the things that are wrong with society in like music, video games, just living that life that seems to be, for some bizarre reason, glorified. So for me, I just don't truly understand the thought process or the correlation at that age between thinking to do crazy things and then like actually doing them.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in a white picket fence with a gated community, and I sure as hell don't know nothing about living around mansions and fancy cars and going to private schools and wearing fancy sweaters tied around my neck and thinking about the sock hop and yeah, eating crumpets and drinking things with my pinky up and all. I didn't have that lifestyle. It was I lived around boarded up houses, drug dealers, pit bulls, and drive-bys and things of that nature. And it's not a stereotype, it's just a reality that a lot of people came up in. But even like with the conditions that I was around, it didn't make me want to go out here and take out my frustration of the way that I was brought up on anybody else. Maybe not in that sense. Like I had things where it was like, all right, certain personality traits I might have used to rub off on people and it screwed them over. But I never like snuck into my pops or my grandmother's cabinet, took knives and weapons out and then went to the school or went out into the neighborhood and played bonanza, you know. But I can't sit here and say that everybody's experience is going to be the same either. Just because I didn't allow those things to happen to me, that doesn't mean the same for somebody else.
Well, it just makes you really think about the psychology of children at this age. I mean, at least it does for me. So what there's just so many factors that like run through my mind specifically. Because it's like, okay, one, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? What were your outside influences in your life growing up? Did you have something extremely traumatic happen to you that prompted something in your brain to feel that type of anger that you would want to take it out on innocent people? And are you on drugs? Those are just like the questions that come to mind for me thinking about that, you know? Like I just don't understand how I don't understand how one can go out and hurt anybody in that respect, but I definitely can't understand at that age because you have to have some special type of either deep wicked thing within you or you're just your brain is altered by something else.
I was playing ping pong back in my head with this question, and I want to pose this to you and the general public. Is it possible for someone of a sober mind and a sober spirit to become what we just saw on this clip?
I mean, uh Yes, because if you think about it, there are people who are mentally unwell. There's murderers that do things like that without being intoxicated or on drugs or anything of that nature. Like, as history has shown, it's not impossible. People have mental illnesses, or they are just like deeply, deeply disturbed. But I wonder, only because at that age, that's when you start kind of like experimenting, dabbling. And, like, drugs are not what they once were. So that's something that definitely plays a factor in my thought process.
What if they just regular people and they because I'm looking at, I'm not saying that this is their situation. Like I said, there's a little more context that needs to be added to it, and I'm gonna play that in a second. But there are folks out here that go to work, come home, they law-abiding citizens, and maybe they just had a lot of pressure on them, a lot of hardships. Maybe someone cheated on them. Maybe they just having too much on them, and one day they just snap.
I mean, that's a pretty young age to be snapping like that. Like, how much pressure could you possibly have at 16, 17 years old?
Bullying, cyberbullying,
I mean,
girl
I
problems.
guess, yeah, but at the same time, like, enough to want. I guess that's my thing. Is like, I can't understand possibly. I think about the things I've gone through in my life, and believe me, there's been plenty of times where one didn't feel great about it in a lot of respects. I'm sure you could say the same about your upbringing in life, but that wouldn't be something that would
Man,
cross our minds. So it's just like very difficult for me to understand. No matter what's going on in your life, how is that the answer? Especially to strangers, innocent people. Like, it would be one thing if it was like a targeted situation of just one human being. But when you're just doing that just to do it to anybody, like, I can't understand that one.
hey, look, I'm not saying it's a rational excuse at all. But all these school, this ain't even got nothing to do with school shootings, but with these school shootings, a lot of these kids were getting bullied, and it's like, well, where was the preventative measures to keep them from crashing out like that? Because to me, it's like, how many times does a person have to tell you, I need help? How many forms, how many versions, how many variations, how many report cards, how many PTAs, how many times does the principal have to call you? How many times does your uncle or your aunt have to say something wrong with that boy? Yeah, you need to check on him. Like, how many times do people have to tell you uh something's off and you need to pay attention to it before you pay attention to it?
I mean, sometimes, and I can only say this for myself, sometimes as a parent, you are also dealing with the pressures of life, and you're not as present or in tune with your children as you should be. It does happen. Um, However, I always try to recalibrate and try to make sure that my son is good no matter what's going on in life. So I feel like if we as parents don't like take a second to kind of wake up from our own fever dream that is life, um it's it's very, not that you intentionally do it, but you just don't even realize that you're not being as hyper vigilant about the changes that are going on with your children. Now, I'm a very intuitive person, so I kind of know my child well enough to know when he's getting like weird. But some parents just perhaps don't have that same awareness, understanding, or signs to even know what to look for because perhaps they weren't taught what to look for, how to look for it. You know what I mean? Like it could stem from even just the way that they were raised. And I'm not making excuses at all. It's just like I'm trying to think about it from another perspective, perhaps.
Well, between you and what Chef and Jenny Lynn on IG said, it's definitely a combination. Now, where those fit, I guess it depends. She said like social media, video games, things, music, which is absolutely 100% accurate. I don't know how much that applies to this case, but it's something that you can't take off the table either. And with as far as abuse, that's definitely something that we don't talk about enough. A lot of people grew up in abusive households, and it doesn't mean that you were getting a belt put to your face or you were getting German suplexed through the table in the dining room. It could mean that you were sexually assaulted. It could mean that you were treated differently than the rest of your siblings and gaslighted the entire time that you were growing up. You could have been put to work as a kid. You could have been robbed as a child and didn't get to go out and roam free. The abuse comes in different waves, So with that, I definitely think it's a combination. I definitely believe there's some spiritual aspects to it as well.
Oh yeah, but that I think that's like where you and I and maybe some other people perhaps just think a little bit differently because that is because we are so forward thinking in our belief of the ability of demons and what they can do and the ability of spirits and how they can attach to not only children but people in general. That to me that makes perfect sense, but to other people that maybe just doesn't make sense. But it could just be a combination of factors as well, like the way that they were raised, something traumatic happened to them, perhaps they were bullied, perhaps their parents just didn't really give them any attention, and like that all mixed in with a frontal lobe that hasn't even been developed yet, having that kind of spirit enter your life and the realm of your life is like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Hold that thought, because I want to present this next piece that's going to add a little more to this. Okay. I wanted to make sure I fit it in at the right time. I think this is the perfect opportunity. Let me bring this back up on the screen real quick, and I'm going to let this play out. This is in regards to one of the shooters.
The reality right now for 17-year-old Christian Mondragon, one of the teens accused in the weekend shooting spree across Austin. Mondragon faced a judge for the first time since his arrest. He's charged with 6 felonies, including 2 counts of aggravated assault with a motor vehicle, 2 counts of unauthorized use of a vehicle, theft of firearms, and evading arrest in a motor vehicle. Prosecutors say more charges could still be coming. Inside the courtroom, it wasn't just the criminal case getting attention. Prosecutors also brought up the fact Mondragon is not a U.S. citizen and currently has an ICE hold.
The ICE detainer, it does add an extra component to his process.
The judge ordered Mondragon held without bond on the aggravated assault charges. Prosecutors arguing he poses a danger to the community and could be deported if released. Jimenez says that detainer doesn't mean ICE takes over the case right now.
That would only kick in once he is no longer authorized to be held by state custody.
Texas takes the case, and if Mondragon is convicted, Jimenez says ICE could step in later, either after a prison sentence or parole.
Before they are going to release him, ICE has the ability, right, to come and take custody.
From there, he could face removal proceedings. Jimenez says the immigration hold also changes how the defense may approach the case.
You might be able to get them a beneficial plea agreement, but that plea agreement might still result in severe negative immigration consequences. No matter what.
All right. So that was the other one that I wanted to play, because when I heard that part, I knew it was going to be a little more controversy behind it. So he's not even legally supposed to be here, which means that you know how this country right now feels about illegal immigration. You know how people feel about just giving away job opportunities and this, that, and the third. Now you add this into the equation.
Well, it definitely doesn't the situation, that's for sure.
Where's the guns coming from? How did they get access to the weapons? Does this make a good argument for why ICE exists in the first place?
Oh man. So I struggle deeply with this only because do I think that these are specific situations that they do not help the controversy and the opinions of illegal immigrants currently in this day and time? Absolutely not. Do I think that if I had an opportunity to take my child out of a place that was absolutely not a good place to grow up and give them a better life and do anything I needed to do in order to give him that, I can't say that I wouldn't. So for me personally, I struggle with it all only because I guess I try to play devil's advocate to it in my own mind. What would I do if I couldn't give my child, like if they were living in total poverty, gangs all over, militias, like, I can't say, but this type of behavior definitely does not help the already formed opinions that people have about illegal immigrants being in our country. That I will say.
Now, I'm not against anybody trying to make a better life for themselves. What I am against is you're doing it illegally. Because like if you expect me as a born citizen to do everything by the book, then I'm supposed to pay my taxes, car insurance, car note, mortgage. If I'm supposed to do all of this for the rest of my life with no credits, then I should be given every access to all of my given right
Right.
to speak freely about things that are going against what you said this country is supposed to represent and stand on. I always had a problem with you trying to tell the United States of America that we stand for this, but you're always doing the opposite of it. So if you're taking shortcuts while I gotta bleed and I gotta stress out and I gotta go through all of these different loopholes to survive, while somebody else is taking shortcuts and they're getting to something quicker than I am, I have a problem with that. Now, as far as them coming over here to get a better life, I don't knock that. But do it legally and then make sure if you're trying to escape something that is bad, cool. But you better be damn sure that you make the best of it. What's the point of leaving something bad if you're going to bring bullshit over here to do more bullshit? I don't understand that.
No, yeah, I'm for sure. I agree. But that's why I said I kind of like struggle with it just a little bit in my mind because obviously we're held to a certain standard being Americans who are born in this country and have to pay the taxes, have to do all the things right, have to abide by the laws in which are required of us. And at the same time, I do think that our government could make it a little bit easier for people who want to come over here to make it a little bit more attainable. I will say that because I know people that have gone through the process and it takes a very long time, a very long time. So, I mean, that's also something to consider for our country to consider, I guess. But with that being said, I'm not condoning or saying like I think it's right or like, by any means. It's just I guess the empathy inside of me feels like just a little bit conflicted by it. But definitely don't come here and make it worse. You're just making it worse for yourself, you're making it worse for everyone else, and honestly, you're just giving the exact ammunition that allows for people to feel the way that they do about it as a general opinion.
What happened with them? I'm putting this out there. What happened with them would have happened with almost any other teenager in the United States born and raised. I'm not even isolating this incident and saying, oh, it's all of them because it's not.
No, right.
What I am saying is there's a core problem here. And I think overall, the tribe is gone, accountability is gone. There's some walls that have been broken through that allows the enemy to creep in and complete objectives that are visibly unrecognizable by folks who do not know how to discern when they are facing threats or a possible threat in their families, in the household. Because to me, it all starts in the house. But if the house is not secure, how is anything outside of them going to be secure?
I mean, that's a good point.
You got it.
That's a good point. I mean, I never used to understand my mom praying over us the way that she did, or anointing us the way that she did, or anointing our home, putting olive oil on the door. Anymore, I never understood it until I had my own child. And in the day and age, especially that we live in now, you have to have that as a parent to be able to keep them under your covering, because the spiritual warfare that goes on day to day, not only just for us adults, but for our children who have innocent minds that can be infiltrated and swayed and altered so easily. I pray over my son every single day because it's terrifying to think about.
You can't
Because it could
afford
just easily happen to my kid as it could to anybody else, except for the fact that perhaps I pray over him and I have that covering with my belief that he will be protected.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Honestly, we're not supposed to cease without it. I mean, and something that Chef said, humans can be so cruel, bro. Because for greed, for position, and for power, we will use the broken and damaged person to do our dirty work. That's metaphorically. That's not hyperbole. You can be a female, you can be a little kid, you can be a grown adult. If you are trying to leverage yourself for the reaping and benefits of something, and you know that you got something that the other person needs, if you starving and you hungry enough and you don't have the discipline or the upbringing to see through it, you can absolutely manipulate and control whoever you want. And I think that's what you were trying to allude to with that part. Fall Guys, yep. Now I don't know if these people were being sacrificed or used for that, but you would have to.
I don't know enough about that to comment.
Yeah, I don't know if it's to that extent, but I do know that with that right there, what did you come from? Like, you weren't technically, I don't know if they were born here, but if you weren't and you snuck over here, what was your life like before you got here?
Right. And that was my point, is like, think about that for a second. Just really think about that for a second. For all you know, that child grew up with that being normal. And they don't know how to decipher or distinguish right from wrong at that point. So, as much as it's disgusting, horrific, I do not condone any of it. We don't know what perhaps was normalized to him in his country. So, in tandem with a spirit that then comes over with it and it being normal to him, that's how would one know, have the wisdom and knowledge and discernment to know anything different? And that's even scarier to think about.
I'm not going to say they didn't know right from wrong, because
no, I'm not saying that, but know anything different in terms of like, that's normal. And they don't think that that's just like not a normal thing here. I don't know. I'm not saying like right from wrong. They should obviously know right from wrong, but just to have something ingrained in you so deeply that is that's your natural reaction, that's disturbing.
it goes back to people not having their emotions in check. It goes back to people not knowing how to communicate, not knowing how to say, look, I'm in pain, I'm suffering, I'm a guy, and guys ain't supposed to feel this way. Or I'm a teenager who don't really know how to live a normal, healthy life. Somebody teach me how to do this. I got a lot of built up anger. I got a lot of frustration. I wasn't even supposed to be here. My parents are like this. My parents are like that. Maybe the parents tried everything they could. Maybe they weren't the greatest parents. Maybe they are the greatest parents and their kids just were out of control. It's just it's a lot, and I keep going back to. I think the government failed us. I think the tribe is missing. I think the prayer aspect is gone. Uh, whoever is guiding them, or whoever's responsible for imparting those type of characteristics in them, should definitely be held responsible to a certain extent too.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. Because like, I mean, I would feel horrific. Like I would feel responsible. Like I raised this human. That's on me. Because, to a certain degree, your children are a reflection of what you have raised them and taught them to be. So if you haven't been able to teach them certain lessons or certain abilities to identify certain things or express their feelings or whatever have you, that is on you as a parent. Now, I'm not saying it's 100% on you as a parent, because you could also raise, I mean, in my parents' instance, they raised a lot of good children. They just happened to get one bad seed. So it does happen, and I do believe that that's where like my perspective on a spiritual hold takes place, because you could raise a child to be as good as you could possibly raise them to be, and somehow they could still end up not being good. You see it all the time. But to a degree, it is our responsibility as parents to take that, because where did we go wrong? And how could we have done better to prepare them or teach them or guide them with the proper knowledge, understanding, faith to be able to not end up like that?
And that's you can only do but so much. At the end of the day, you can't hold them around 24 hours a day. They're gonna have to go out here in the world and use what you gave them to the best of their ability. And you have, as a parent, have to hope and pray that you did your part to the
Right.
extent that where they keep that with them. Pass or fail. We all pass and fail. We all have been in these bumpy roads. We made good decisions. We made bad decisions. This one is going to cost them a lot, though, and it's not just them. It's not going to stop there with them, unfortunately. But that's why I wanted to talk about it, because nobody just comes out the womb holding an AR-15 and
No,
decides that they want to shoot up everything. Like, come on.
no, definitely not. It just breaks my heart, because it's like, it makes you really want to dig deeper. It makes you really want to dig deeper into the minds of some of these children. And like, what are they not getting, perhaps? And it's just sad. I don't know. It's a sad reality that we don't have more support for our children in ways that we probably should. Because oftentimes, regardless if our children are going through something or not, if we check in with them, and I know this only to be true for myself, when I check in with my son, he doesn't always want to talk to me. So it's like, I feel like because our children spend so much time at school, more time at school than they do with us as parents past a certain point, there should be some kind of protocol to check on children or to like mental health checks. I don't know.
The budget doesn't go into the things that they need to go into. Not enough, as far as I'm concerned.
No, you're right. It doesn't. And that's a whole nother issue. So I guess, it's just how do we make it better? Like, how do we change that? How do we make it better? How, like, because there's some parents out here, and I know this to be true because I was that parent. I didn't see my son for days at a time because I was waking up and leaving before he was awake, and I wasn't home till after he was asleep, just to be able to provide. So, it's just, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough situation because you really just don't know what these kids are going through. You also don't know their upbringing. You don't know their home life. You don't know a lot of things. So it's just really difficult to decipher what the answer should be. Prayer.
Lots of it. What are the odds of someone who got all the love in the world becoming that right there?
There's odds. I mean, there are people who grew up rather normal who end up being not normal. There are children who come from good homes that end up being very conflicted in their brain, their heart, and their soul, that end up doing really bad things. And that's just the spirit of the devil coming against them. I mean, that's the only thing that my brain can equate that to. Because what else can you really say? Unless they're running with gangs, unless they're, dabbling in drugs that has altered their brain so greatly that they've become a different human being. It's demonic. It's like a spirit of evil. And if the devil can't get you one way, he'll certainly try to get you another, as we know.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, to answer your question, one, it starts at home. A lot of, from my generation specifically, we kind of perpetuated a trend, a very dangerous one, because we begin to get lazy and lackadaisical. The traditions that our grandparents carried, we stopped following them. And then we start procreating more and more and more. And then we start creating a generation that's following us. We stopped following our parents and their parents. And so then the children that come after us, they follow what we do. And you just keep continuously taking and removing things out of the house that would keep them strongly secure in their walk or their development. I was thinking about Jeffrey Dahmer, when she said, there were some people that were normal. He was pretty normal, at least from my observation. He was him, a couple of other people that were high profile that you see on Netflix and Hulu, and they got all these documentaries and movies. They were normal people too, but they turned out to be crazy as hell. I'm not saying that's everybody, but look, people are screaming out. People are screaming out for help, and they're doing it through arrogance. They're doing it through ego. They're doing it through being rebellious. A lot of these kids want love, man.
Yeah.
And some of us are 50 years old and we never got it, but we kept screaming for it
Right.
and ended up in jail or ended up in situations that just never course corrected.
I mean, all we can try to do as parents, if we have children, is try to be better than what perhaps we craved and what we lacked. And that's my biggest thing that drives me in life as a mom is I want to give my son everything I felt I didn't get. And I want to keep the foundation of what my mom raised us to be, which was, spiritually led and believing in the Lord and putting him first. But there were also other things that, she definitely could have done differently. But I think we all do things that we could do better at. And that's just the goal is like when we have kids, is just do better than perhaps we felt we had.
It's a trial and error. Some of us just we use what we got to the best of our knowledge, and I had to accept that truth a long time ago. You want the ideal upbringing, but what you get is probably going to be the only way you get that type of love out of that person. It didn't necessarily mean that they didn't care about you or nothing like that. It's just they could only meet you where they knew how to meet you
Right.
from where they were.
Exactly. And you have to think about it like that. And it goes back to something we spoke about weeks ago. Like it's generational curses as well that can oftentimes affect the way the upbringing is and continues to be. And that's why it is so important for us to become self-aware and know the things that perhaps we need to work on or change as parents to be able to then not have that continue.
Yeah, at some point you got to look at yourself and really be honest. Be honest. Are you happy with who you are, where you are in your own walk? And if the answer is no, then the next thing that you should be saying to yourself is, well, what should I be doing now to improve upon where I'm at? Because guess what? I just seen a video of an 82-year-old black woman who just graduated and got her doctorate. 82. So it really ain't no excuse. We can all improve and be better than what we are. It's just a matter of if you want that or not, or you're just stuck in a loop of this is all I know, this is all I'm going to ever be, so I'm not even going to bother trying to do anything else. And if that's the attitude you got, then I feel bad for anybody who's around you, because I don't want that around me. If you stuck in that mindset, and it's like, well, man, people have been telling me about myself for years. I'm not changing nothing about me. I know who I am. If that's you, we can't do nothing. We can't talk. We can't do nothing because you're an anchor. You're a spiritual anchor. You're a mental anchor. You're an emotional anchor. You have no desire to get out of what you're in. and you probably don't even think there is any signs of oppression whatsoever. So what the hell? What can you do for anybody else?
But again, that takes accountability and that takes awareness. And that's not something that everybody has. So that, I mean, unfortunately, that's one of the bigger problems in life as well. Uh, Aside from not having the moral compass, not having the spiritual compass, not having the examples before us that are able to kind of spark that in our minds at a young age. But a lot of people are just coasting through life and they just don't care. They want to do what they want to do and they're going to do it.
That's the attitude that got us on the subject that we on now.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah, was it you that said it, or was it Chef that said it? Somebody said that the kids are being raised in school. The school is raising them. Like you send them off to school, bless you. You send them off to school, and you let them 8 hours, them 9 hours do the job for you. When you get home, there's nothing. Just like a routine. They go to their laptop devices. You get off work. Maybe you'll cook or order out. There's no
I mean, it's very tough to know what to say because as a parent, like I don't ever want to act as though I've got it all figured out because I don't. Because let me tell you something, there are days where my son, after his day at school and his day after practice, he doesn't want to talk to me. He's a teenager. He wants to just go in his room and relax and unwind. And it's like a fine line between allowing it and like forcing him to open up to me, have conversations, you know. So I don't have it all figured out, that's for certain. But I definitely try to encourage and foster a relationship that allows for him to be open, to be honest, to talk to me. I always make sure I check on him and like do mental health checks. So that's the best I can say just for me.
The effort is all that matters. You're trying.
Well, I just know what I would have given to have somebody at his age actually do that for me. And I didn't have that. I'm one of 11 children. So there was not evenly distributed love and attention throughout my childhood. So if I can do that for my one single child, you best believe I will.
I never understood that either. And I'm gonna address what Lynn said in this. I never understood how you could grow up in a household with siblings and it be difficult to distribute love and attention to everybody equally. I never thought it was impossible, but somehow, some way, it always ends up being like one might be favored more than the other, or you know.
So given our experience growing up, there's that one troubled child, and that one troubled child really needed a lot more attention and resources and time and effort and energy. And when you see that your child is hurting, especially being a person of the Lord, which my parents were, you want to help your hurting child. You want to fix your hurting child. You want to fix your troubled child. And you don't even do it without, like, you're not doing it intentionally. It just naturally happens because you want to fix what you feel is so wrong in that. Because it's your baby. How do you not? And, God gave us each other to be able to lean on one another. So I'm super grateful for that. But, I think my parents did the best that they could do with the situation Because my brother was a real handful. He still is. So I don't know. I didn't have 10 children, so I can't say exactly. But it happens.
There's a certain type of, I hate to use the word love language, but there's, it's like know your audience, right? Everybody's delivery is different. Everybody receives messages differently. The beauty about this show is when you see you, Sydney, Rob, or you see different faces up here, everybody's approach and style is going to be different. It might have similarities, but the flow patterns are different. The projections is different. The way that they describe certain experiences are different. You're gonna hear it and receive it in the way that it was meant for you. You're going to interpret it in a way that was meant for you based off of just who is coming from. And it doesn't take away from the messenger or the message. It just means that at that particular moment, you resonate with this person a little bit differently than the other. And that's the beauty of having variety in conversations of any sort, whether or not it's a family member or it's in a relationship or it's business. You have to understand that patience is 1000% important.
Well, it's a
You
virtue.
you have to have it. If you don't have it, you will lose a large number of your fights, because a lot of your wins are going to come from endurance and your ability to be able to listen, process, and respond and react accordingly. We just did a show on responding and reacting.
Mm-hmm.
So with Miss Scorpio, what you were saying, it takes. I always say pray over things before you go into them. That way that you have a calm spirit, a calm mind. I also like to try to be considerate of the person that I'm interacting with. So if I'm having a one-on-one with somebody and I know anything about them, I know how I need to sit down and have this discussion. Where do I go with it? How far do I push, pull back? You know, some things you have to put on the altar and let God have it. Some things
Right.
you can't interject with. It's a trait and it's a dance that we long since forgotten, the art of conversation. Uh and clearly there's a huge disconnect with us and the youth. Clearly. I'm not saying that applies to everybody, but if I'm sitting here having a
That's an
conversation
overall
with,
general for sure. I mean, I think that there is definitely an element of that.
what was that last
I said
part?
there's definitely an element of that for sure. Because they're like they've just grown up completely different than us. You know what I mean? Like they didn't we were still playing outside as kids. We were still like doing kid stuff at kid ages. You got to think about these children have had not very children forward lives unless they've been specifically raised that way. And sometimes that's by choice and sometimes that's not by choice. Sometimes it's merely out of survival of the parent who's raising them. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunately there's so many things that are to be taken into consideration in the way that these generations are now being brought up.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And shout out to Lynn. She said it's a personal choice how someone acts no matter what you do for them. Kind of what I said earlier too, because you said it too as well. Like you can be the best that you can possibly be in a person's life. If put it as, if it's meant for you to go left, even though I'm telling you to go right, I can't stop you from going left.
Right.
I can
Everyone
tell
has
you all
free will.
day. We force friendships, we force relationships. We think that our friendship tactics are exceptional. We think that our relationship practices are exceptional. And truth be told, a lot of our styles are piss poor.
Yeah.
We be thinking we
Yeah.
doing the nah, you not doing what you think you doing. I'm sorry, you're not.
But again, I think it all circles back to like the main focal point of what we constantly end up talking about. It comes full circle. It's about awareness, it's about accountability, it's about actually getting to know yourself, and it's about actually having to look inside.
Yeah.
So,
And get these guns off the street.
oh man, I can't stand it. That's a whole nother topic that I just don't even.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, shouldn't be having access to that type of stuff at
I
all.
think it's insane how accessible guns are to our children. I think it's absurd. Absolutely ludicrous. But, you know, rights to bear arms and all that. So,
I guess like my final thoughts on this whole thing is my prayers again go out to these people. We have a problem. We have a huge problem because kids are wielding weapons every day, robbing and killing each other, including us. People are looking for love in the wrong places. We're not giving it. We don't know how to give it. We don't know how to receive it. And to go back to your initial thought on it, I think that's what's missing. Love is missing. Real love is missing. Respect is missing. The fear in your parents is missing. We
yeah.
don't fear our superiors. We don't fear or respect our elders. The government isn't helping in the ways that they are supposed to. They are building all of these buildings for AI technology, but they don't have facilities to help families cope with traumas and things of that nature.
Or
Where you
mental
can,
illness.
yeah, exactly.
Like, well, we could go on forever with this one, but yeah, you're right. And all we can do is pray, and all we can do is try to be the shining light in a very dark world.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I want to give a shout out to James, to Lynn, Chef, Miss Scorpio, everybody who pulled up for the stream tonight.
Thank you.
Shout outs to you for being here. Always a pleasure to sit across via the stream to have these type of discussions. To everybody, if I don't get to chop it up with you tomorrow, have a blessed day, morning, evening. I've gone back to doing my morning shows Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 11 to 12. So I got a lineup. We're going to be chopping it up tomorrow. If you free, pull up.
Okay.
Outside of that,
Free tomorrow, but I might be this week.
no problem. Outside of that, do me a solid before y'all head out, if you don't mind.
Put the goddamn button.
You guys have a blessed evening, man. I will catch y'all on the flip.
Yeah, have a great night, guys.
The flow insane. Take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. Third degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change.